Enzo Fernandez humiliated England, watched Chelsea delete its own celebration of him, and returned from the FIFA World Cup 2026 with England waiting for answers. Then came the bombshell from Manchester. A club from the city was reportedly considering a move so enormous it could break its own transfer record. For Enzo, the timing could hardly be more dramatic. Weeks earlier, he had become Argentina's hero and England's villain in the same match. Now the World Cup controversy that seemed capable of destroying his relationship with Chelsea may be opening the door to the biggest transfer of his career. The story begins in Atlanta, with England leading Argentina 1-0 in the FIFA World Cup 2026 semi-final. England were closing in on their first World Cup final since 1966. In the 85th minute, Argentina needed something extraordinary. Enzo delivered it. He collected the ball outside the penalty area, moved onto his left foot, and struck a shot Jordan Pickford could not stop. Argentina were level. The stadium exploded. But the goal was only the beginning. Enzo ran towards the England supporters. He cupped his ears. He stuck out his tongue. Then he blew them a kiss. For Argentina, it was defiance. For England, it looked like humiliation. And for Chelsea, it immediately became a problem. Enzo was not mocking an ordinary opponent. He was provoking the country where he earns his living, the country where Chelsea are based, and the supporters who watch him every week. Argentina scored again in stoppage time and won 2-1. England were out. Enzo had helped destroy their World Cup dream, then celebrated directly in front of them. Chelsea reacted within minutes. The club posted an image celebrating Enzo's equaliser. It showed their midfielder with his hands cupped behind his ears. The backlash was immediate. Chelsea supporters demanded to know why an English club was celebrating the moment England's World Cup collapsed. The post disappeared. That deletion mattered. Chelsea had tried to celebrate one of their own players. Their own supporters forced them to retreat. It was the first sign that Enzo's international success had created a club crisis. But Enzo was not finished. After the match, he shared footage of himself laughing with Argentina teammates while Wonderwall played in the background. The Oasis song had become closely associated with England's tournament. Now Argentina appeared to be using it as a weapon against them. The post was removed, then shared again without the music. The damage had already been done. The celebration on the pitch could be dismissed as emotion. The Wonderwall post looked planned. It extended the mockery beyond the stadium and carried it directly onto the phones of English supporters. Then the controversy became political. Argentina players displayed a banner reading, "Las Malvinas son Argentinas." The Malvinas are Argentine. The message reopened one of the most sensitive disputes between Argentina and Britain and pushed the celebration beyond football. Enzo was already the face of England's anger because of the goal and his behaviour afterwards. The wider controversy placed even more pressure on his return to Chelsea. And that is where the Manchester bombshell becomes so important. Enzo was not returning to a calm club environment. He was returning to supporters who had already forced Chelsea to delete a post about him. He was returning as the man who helped eliminate England and mocked the travelling fans. Chelsea needed to decide how to welcome him back. Their new manager had already made his position clear. Xabi Alonso confirmed that he had spoken privately with Enzo. He refused to reveal what was said, but when he was asked whether he wanted the midfielder to remain at Chelsea, his answer was simple: yes. Alonso described Enzo as a great player and made it clear that Chelsea were looking forward to working with him. That public support should have ended the uncertainty. Instead, it created an even bigger contradiction. The manager wanted Enzo, the supporters were furious, and somewhere in Manchester, another club was reportedly considering whether to test Chelsea with a record-breaking offer. Before we reveal why that club may want the player who just enraged England, subscribe to the World Cup Whistleblower for the controversies and hidden stories surrounding the FIFA World Cup 2026. Because the club was Manchester City. Reports claim City were assessing a blockbuster move for Enzo Fernandez. The possible fee could exceed the club's previous transfer record and force Chelsea into a brutal summer decision. City's interest was not based on his celebrations. It was based on the football underneath the scandal. Enzo is already proven in the Premier League. He can control possession, break pressure, and move the ball through midfield. He can play deeper, move forward, and influence matches in several ways. The England semi-final showed another side. He could decide the biggest match under the greatest pressure. The same goal that made him hated by English supporters may have reminded Manchester City exactly why Chelsea paid so much for him. That creates a brutal irony. Enzo's behaviour may have damaged his relationship with Chelsea fans, but his performance may have increased his value to one of Chelsea's biggest domestic rivals. City could look past the outrage. Chelsea have a player surrounded by anger and uncertainty. City may see an elite midfielder in his prime. For Xabi Alonso, the situation is dangerous. He publicly said he wanted Enzo to stay. Selling him would weaken the midfield before Alonso had built his Chelsea team. But refusing an enormous offer could mean keeping a player whose connection with part of the fan base has been badly damaged. Selling him to Manchester City would create another problem. Chelsea would not simply lose Enzo. They could hand a direct rival one of the most expensive and accomplished midfielders in the league. City would gain a World Cup winner with years of Premier League experience. Chelsea supporters would watch the player who had just angered them escape into another title-chasing English club. And if Enzo succeeded there, the decision could haunt Chelsea for years. This is why the private conversation between Alonso and Enzo matters. Alonso confirmed the meeting, but kept the details hidden. Did he reassure Enzo that he remained central to Chelsea? Did he warn him that the relationship with supporters needed repairing? Did Enzo explain his celebration? Did the possibility of a Manchester move enter the conversation?
Those answers remain behind closed doors.
Enzo himself has not publicly declared that he wants Manchester City. The interest comes from transfer reporting, but silence lets a transfer story grow. Manchester City's reported interest gives Enzo leverage. It gives Chelsea a potential record offer, and it gives Xabi Alonso a battle he may not have expected when he publicly backed the midfielder. The moral argument is just as explosive as the transfer itself. One side will say City are judging Enzo as a footballer, not a provocateur. The other side will see a player being rewarded immediately after humiliating England and leaving Chelsea to deal with the backlash. Enzo could move from controversy to an even bigger contract. He could leave angry Chelsea supporters behind without leaving England. And Manchester City could turn the most hated Argentine player of the World Cup into their next midfield star. That is the real bombshell from Manchester. The semi-final should have made Enzo's return to England more difficult. Instead, it may have created the perfect conditions for a move. Chelsea face a choice between their manager's public support and the possibility of a record fee. Manchester City must decide whether Enzo's football is worth the controversy attached to him. And Enzo must decide whether repairing his Chelsea relationship matters more than beginning again somewhere else. Did his disgraceful World Cup celebration destroy his future at Chelsea? Or did the goal that broke England convince Manchester City to offer him the biggest escape possible? Tell us what you believe below. Should Xabi Alonso fight to keep Enzo Fernandez? Or should Chelsea take the money and let Manchester deal with the consequences?